Coming up, officials with the Ed Emery campaign released an update following the congressional candidate's death Friday evening. And an update to the drowning in Montgomery County as officials identify the victim. Also, the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County is identified.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Make sure to drink plenty of water and take breaks in the shade because heat advisory is in effect today. Let's take a look at the forecast.
And tomorrow, and Wednesday, and Thursday. Heat's back. Here we go, live look over 7th and Rangeline on this Monday morning. 79 degrees is where we stand. I tell you what, it is a little bit of a relief having some wind with us. Coming in from the south, 13 miles per hour. But much better than those still conditions that we had last night into the early morning hours. Temperatures for the time being, because there's nothing to see outside of Television City right now, we're sitting in the high 70s. We've got Chinook chiming in at 80, Welch at 81. Everybody else pretty much from about 77 to 79. And we do have some morning thunderstorm activity coming down in our far northern highlighted counties. Got one through Butler right now, another one through Mound City, just about to cross the Kansas-Missouri state line. And yeah, this thing had thrown down a little bit of lightning, but it is breaking up as it moves off to the east and no back build behind it. Let's talk about what we've got for our watches and warnings, as this is very similar to what we had during the heat wave about 2 weeks ago. The orange indicating the heat advisory, and you'll notice that lasts all the way until Thursday at 8 p.m. An indicator of just a hot week, as our heat index value is going to range around 105 each and every afternoon. And then down in northeast Oklahoma, that's the old excessive heat warning that we're going to have to put up with. As far as that thunderstorm activity, it moves east of the Mississippi for today. Then our temperatures increase along with our humidity and that south wind at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, setting us up for daily highs in the 90s each and every day until we get to the end of the week. Tanya, not going to be surprised one bit. The old heat advisory isn't extended until Friday, until we drop back down into the high 80s for the weekend.
Ooh, hey, I'm going to look ahead to those 80s.
Not a whole lot of rain either.
Yeah.
That means that humidity just going to linger.
Yeah. Good day to stay inside and relax. That's my plan. All right, thanks, Michael. Former Missouri Senator and candidate for the 4th U.S. Congressional District, Ed Emery, has passed away. Officials with the Ed Emery for Congress's campaign released a statement yesterday on Emery's death. Emery passed away around 9 p.m. Friday night at University Hospital in Columbia following a heart episode. He was speaking at an event hosted by the Randolph County Republican Women in Moberly the evening of August 3rd. Campaign announced in the statement that visitation will be held Tuesday, August 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Daniel Funeral Home in Lamar. The funeral will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the First Baptist Church in Lamar. Cards and condolences can be sent to 1189 East Highway C in Lamar. A Bolivar, Missouri man dies in a crash near Polk, Missouri. It happened Sunday around 3 in the morning on Highway D.5 miles north of Polk. Missouri Highway Patrol says a vehicle driven by 19-year-old Zachary Grenier ran off the roadway and struck a tree. Grenier was pronounced at the scene. Officials with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office released more information following a drowning in the county, including the name of the victim. Just before 7 Friday evening, Thomas Crittenden of Independence was on a boat in Elk City Lake, when he jumped into the water and never resurfaced. Several agencies, including area residents with boats, assisted with the search. Around 5:30 Saturday evening, first responders located Crittenden's body. Across the state line, officials say a 6-year-old boy drowned in the Elk River. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, just before 2 p.m. Friday, a 6-year-old from Kansas City waded out into the waters of Elk River near Knoll, was not able to return to shore. He was taken to Freeman Hospital and pronounced dead just before 4 Friday afternoon. Officials identified the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County on Thursday. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office says that the body is that of Dale Miner of Miami. Miner's body was discovered by highway workers on Thursday. No information was released, and officials say the investigation is ongoing. A same-sex couple in Oklahoma is trying to use the Paycheck Protection Program to sue a Christian school that kicked out their daughter. Summit Christian Academy near Tulsa says the 5-year-old girl cannot start kindergarten there because her mother is married to another woman. Normally, a private religious institution does not have to comply with anti-discrimination laws, but attorneys for Sarah Evans and Brittany Hudson argue the school has to accept those laws because it accepted federal funding. The academy superintendent says school policy prevents him from commenting on what happened. A Pittsburgh business is getting kids ready to go back to school, and that includes connecting families with local nonprofits. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how one Kansas nonprofit is helping at-risk children excel.
The first day of school is right around the corner, and one Pittsburgh business is making sure that families are prepared to send their kids back to the classroom.
We wanted families to have like a kind of a resource for before they go back to school, but also for the kids to have fun before school starts, because most kids dread going back to school.
Rebecca Bales is an intern at the Fun Zone Depot in Pittsburgh and helped organize an event to not only get kids ready for school, but to connect families with area resources and get them more involved in the community.
My hope is that it just kind of brings the community more together.
Which is why local nonprofits like Big Brothers Big Sisters of Kansas were in attendance. The nonprofit in Crawford County aims to mentor at-risk children in the community with an adult.
As we match children in the community that are at risk of possibly becoming part of the juvenile justice system with an adult in the community that is interested in being that mentor for a child.
It's something Bales is familiar with herself.
They take volunteers in the community to go and help maybe a family who financially can't get their kids out there to do different things, or they may just need some extra help in different situations.
Cassidy Owen with Big Brothers Big Sisters in Crawford County says they've already had a good amount of signups at the event. Owen, who is also a big sister, says the experience changed not only her mentee's life, but hers as well.
She's much more involved, but it's not just what the kids get out of it, it's what the adults get out of it too. She has taught me more than I would have ever thought somebody could teach me.
In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Anyone interested in the mentorship program can sign up online at kansasbigs.org, and you can find more information on our website. It's 5:07.
Got that pop-up sitting over the far northern portion of the 4 states. Lightning, at least, has decided to become a thing of the past with it. It's about the only rain that we have left. Going to have south winds 10 to 15 miles per hour with that heat advisory. Feel about like 105, 106 this afternoon. Overnight, wind does back off a little bit with mostly clear skies. It's a 7-day forecast that brings us 90s all the way across the board. Those alert days you see indicate the heat advisory sticking around till Thursday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, COVID infections.
COVID cases are rising in children. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the troubling new numbers and the country that's now opening up to vaccinated Americans.
Plus, Missouri Southern football marked another big step in preparing for their season opener on September 2nd. And today is National Book Lovers Day. All you have to do is to celebrate is pick up a good book and read. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Cardinals and Royals finishing out a series last night as the Cards won the first 2 and looking for the Sunday afternoon sweep, and did so taking an early lead. Dylan Carlson with the home run makes it 1-0. Same score in the 4th. Now the Royals have the bases loaded, and it's Michael A. Taylor singles to right field. That's going to knot the game up at 1. Royals able to widen the lead as Taylor again. This time to the left-hand side. Throw home. Yep. Hunter Dozier trots in 4-1. Momentum flips, though, as the Cards find their rhythm. Paul Goldschmidt singles to the right-hand side. That plates another run before Nolan Arenado's hit scores another. So we're tied. And then in the ninth inning, we got a 2-hour rain delay in the ninth inning. After 2 hours, play resumed. You can tell there ain't nobody in those stands, but Nicky Lopez finishes it off, gives the Royals a lead, and the Royals are able to avoid the sweep, winning 6-5. Look at that deluge that they had there. Rainy day outside in St. Joe as well. The Chiefs bringing training camp inside, but it certainly was not a wasted day. Yesterday's practice focused on going through the playbook and working on certain game situations. Rookie linebacker Nick Bolton says he's acclimating well.
Yeah, it's starting to come along a little bit. I feel more comfortable in the playbook. Like I said, Hitch, Ben, all those older guys, Willie, all helping me learn the playbook, and so that kind of instills confidence when you know what you're doing. You can kind of go out there and execute the game plan with a clear mind, and so I kind of feel like speed of the game. That's why instincts are trying to show up a little bit more when I get a little bit more comfortable with the playbook.
SEK Elite hosts a back-to-school wrestling clinic. You had around 60 kids from 1st to 12th grade in attendance, learning from that dude, Kenny Monday, who's one of the best in the sport.
Decorated wrestler Kenny Monday leads a clinic on Sunday at Pittsburgh High School.
Nice, circle, circle. Whoa, that's a point.
When I heard Coach Monday was coming here, I've followed him. I watch a lot of highlights of past Olympics and stuff, and I've heard about his career and all his accomplishments, and I thought it'd be a good idea to come out here and learn from the best.
Keep the shoulder in the chest. I love to get back and kind of reinvest in the kids, and just give my time and my expertise in the sport of wrestling.
Monday is a world champion. He is also a 3-time Olympian, winning gold in the 1988 Games in Korea.
I think I'm going to learn technique that an Olympic champion has used, and I can add it to my repertoire and hopefully use it in matches for my high school career.
Being an Olympic gold medalist, it kind of gives me a platform to kind of get out and see a lot of the kids and just kind of sell the dream. Sell the dream. I had a dream when I was a kid, 10 years old, to be an Olympic champion. And so that dream came in reality.
Run those feet! Run those feet!
Monday hopes to teach young wrestlers new skills on the mat and in life.
He has a great mentality. He started us off by telling us that our mentality is the best thing like a wrestler can have.
Wrestling is such a great sport, right? The characteristics that you learn from wrestling, the discipline, the hard work, the teamwork. It really goes a long way, right? And so it's really just good for kids.
Monday's been coaching since he retired from wrestling in 1996. He now travels all over the world, speaking and offering camps. Missouri Southern Lions have taken the next step in preparing for the fall season as they're finally back on the field for fall practices. Young team this year, get this, you got more than 70 newcomers. Of course, you have a new head coach in Atiba Bradley, who was hired back in February. Lions season opener quickly approaching. Entire team, it may be young, but still very eager to kick it off.
It feels like this day has been coming forever. I blink and it doesn't seem real that it was only 6 months ago that I was hired. It almost feels like a decade, but we're excited. The kids are excited. They have a lot of energy. They're flying around and they're just ready to get better. There's so much you can do in the summer, there's so much you can do in the spring, but it's go time now, so we're ready to get started.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, Taliban militants try to take over a city while the United States withdraws from the country. And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Nothing feels quite.
Couple ticks past 5:17, still a great time for weather on the 7s. Now before we get to talking about the heat that's going to reemerge this week, let's knock out some early morning thunderstorm activity that we have in the northern portion, put the storm tracks on there, just to give you an idea of exactly where this thing was headed, moving right over Butler. We've got another one just crossing the Kansas-Missouri state line. We have lost the lightning from it, but that orange and the yellow indicating that's some pretty good heavy rain moving down, be around on our counties probably about the next 15 to 20 minutes. Transition back to 7th and Range Line, where we sit at 79 degrees on this Monday morning with a south wind that's picked up a little bit, coming in at 13 miles per hour. Nothing to see yet over 7th and Range Line because we got to wait until 6:30 before we hit sunrise. 78 in Lamar and Pittsburgh, 79 in Miami and Fort Scott. Let's roll 80 right now in Chanute. Now, as far as what we're seeing on the backside of this system, nothing really building, and so it's not going to be one of those that likes to regenerate behind it. Now we can turn our attention to our watches and warnings and advisories. The orange, a heat advisory lasting all the way until Thursday. Northeast Oklahoma rolling an excessive heat warning there in the purplish color until at least tonight, and the heat wave back along the Midwest right there as the big ridge of the jet stream pushing up toward Canada and then sweeping down. So that excessive heat making its way all the way north into Iowa. And when we talk about the extended heat watches and warnings, you'll notice the excessive heat warning that we have right there in that purple. It's just us in Northeast Oklahoma that has it. Everybody else just under an advisory. Severe thunderstorm risk map pushes everything off to the east, if not up to the Great Lakes for today. And that wind, we will have some 20-mile-an-hour gusts with it, and then overnight, mostly clear skies. Wind will back off a little bit, go back to 5 to 10 miles per hour. Any chance of sporadic rain that we have really looks like it's going to be up to the north and to the east. And then Tuesday, everything out to the east of us, especially east of the Ozarks, looks like it's going to get its fair share of rain. It's a 7-day forecast that has temperatures in the 90s all week long, and those alert days indicating the heat advisory lasting until Thursday. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. It is August 9th is National Book Day. Evidently, Facebook doesn't go and cooperate with me. It's because I did an interview with them last week. They probably didn't like my questions. How about that? All right. The idea is to pick up a good book, read it, get started on one, maybe finish off one you've had sitting around. Specifically, though, our question for you is, how many books have you read in the past 12 months? We got selections from 0 all the way to 5 or more. You can get a hold of the poll by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. or connect to us through our Facebook page. We'll be back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, new COVID infections are now averaging more than 100,000 a day, a number not seen since February. And according to Johns Hopkins University, as of Friday, the 7-day average for deaths rose from about 270 deaths per day 2 weeks ago to nearly 500 a day. Dr. Anthony Fauci says there will not be a federal vaccine mandate, but expects more businesses and schools to implement their own soon. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
The coronavirus vaccine could be fully approved by the FDA this month.
I don't predict, but I hope that it will be within the next few weeks.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says that could lead to new vaccine requirements at the local level.
That could be colleges, universities, places of business, a whole variety, and I strongly support that. The time has come is we've got to go the extra step to get people vaccinated.
About 50% of Americans are fully vaccinated. These nurses in North Texas protested an order by their hospitals, get the shots or lose your job.
I'm not here to say that you should get the vaccine or that you shouldn't get the vaccine, but that you should have a choice.
Children under 12 are still not eligible for the vaccines. Pediatric cases in the U.S. are soaring just as school starts back up. Nearly 20% of cases in the last week of July were kids.
I feel safer. That's like one of the main reasons I want it.
Adrian Cicito is about to begin 9th grade. He was one of 100 people at this vaccine pop-up clinic in Compton.
I want to be prepared and stay in school.
The jab is mandatory for those traveling north. After 16 months, Canada reopened its border to vaccinated Americans this morning.
It's really encouraging that we're going to be able to see our American neighbors, friends, and in many cases, family members come back to our community.
Canadians can start visiting the U.S. on August 21st. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Americans will also need a negative COVID test before traveling to Canada. Children under 12 will be able to visit if they're with a vaccinated adult. Europe's drug regulator is recommending that 3 more reactions be added as possible side effects of the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. The committee says low blood platelets, dizziness, and ringing in the ears should all be added to the label, but they found no links between COVID vaccines and menstrual disorders. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Heat advisory for the majority of the 4 states. Excessive heat warning for northeast Oklahoma as it's going to feel in between 105 and 107 this afternoon. Little cloud cover early. It looks like we're going to stay on the dry side. Of course, remember, you get this hot, you always got a chance for pop-up rain, sit over you for 10, 15 minutes. Looks like the majority of the rain is going to stay out to the east there Tuesday morning through the Ozarks. But the heat, it also remains. Those heat advisories run all the way until Thursday.
Coming up, officials with the Ed Emory campaign release an update following the congressional candidate's death Friday evening. And an update to the drowning in Montgomery County as officials identify the victim. Also, the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County is identified.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Make sure to drink plenty of water and take lots of breaks in the shade today because it's just going to be really hot.
Current conditions over 7th and Rangeline, Tanya, already sitting at 79 degrees. Look at that. We've already got a heat index in effect. And sunrise isn't here for another hour. It'll be 6:30 over Joplin today. I tell you what, I think the south wind does provide just a little bit of relief. It's not still like it has been for the past couple of heat waves that we've had. Let's roll 79 in Miami, Chanute and Oswego chiming in at 80, and Welch already up to 81. Then we roll a trio of 78s from Nevada, Lamar, and into Carthage. The Skywatch Storm Tracker has picked up a little thunderstorm activity up to our north. It's moving off to the east, should be gone in about 15 minutes right there. Now we've got watches, we've got not only warnings but advisories. Not a whole lot of heat watches, there are technically, but we've got heat advisories in orange, and then an excessive heat warning is what's indicated throughout northeast Oklahoma, as we're going to feel like in between 105 and 107 this afternoon. The afternoon planner has a little bit of cloud cover early, and then we get some sunshine just in time for the peak heating hours. Mostly clear skies overnight. Wind does back off a little bit. Any pop-up that we do get today going to be quick. Now Tuesday morning we got some rain to develop, but it looks like it does really want to stay off to the east of us through the Ozarks. 7-day forecast not giving up though on the heat, as we're going to ride those advisories all the way to Thursday.
All right, well, be prepared. We've been warned it's going to be hot. Take precautions.
We knew it was coming back.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. A former Missouri senator and candidate for the 4th U.S. Congressional District, Ed Emory, has passed away. Officials with the Ed Emory for Congress campaign released a statement yesterday on Emory's death. Emory passed away around 9 p.m. Friday night at University Hospital in Columbia following a heart episode. He was speaking at an event hosted by the Randolph County Republican Women in Moberly the evening of August 3rd. The campaign announced in the statement that visitation will be held Tuesday, August 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. That's tomorrow at Daniel Funeral Home in Lamar. The funeral will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the First Baptist Church in Lamar. Cards and condolences can be sent to 1189 East Highway C in Lamar. Officials with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office have released more information following a drowning in the county, including the name of the victim. Just before 7 Friday evening, Thomas Crittenden of Independence was on a boat in Elk City Lake State Park when he jumped into the water and never resurfaced. Several agencies, including area residents with boats, assisted with the search. Around 5:30 Saturday evening, first responders located Crittenden's body. Across state lines, officials say a 6-year-old boy drowned in the Elk River. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, just before 2 p.m. on Friday, a 6-year-old from Kansas City waded out into the waters of Elk River near Knoll and was not able to return to shore. He was taken to Freeman Hospital and pronounced dead just before 4 Friday afternoon. Officials have identified the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County on Thursday. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office says the body is that of Dale Miner of Miami. Miner's body was discovered by highway workers on Thursday. No information was released, and officials say the investigation is ongoing. A same-sex couple in Oklahoma is trying to use the Paycheck Protection Program to sue a Christian school that kicked out their daughter. The Summit Christian Academy near Tulsa says the 5-year-old girl cannot start kindergarten there because her mother is married to another woman. Normally, a private religious institution does not have to comply with anti-discrimination laws, but attorneys for Sarah Evans and Brittany Hudson argue the school has to accept those laws because it accepted federal funding. The academy superintendent says school policy prevents him from commenting on what happened. A Miami business is getting into the spirit of loving local and honoring local healthcare and education workers in the community. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how One Shaved Ice Shop's new deal aims to give these workers their recognition.
With coronavirus cases reaching high numbers once again in the 4 states, many area essential workers are feeling the strain, which is why One Miami business went out of its way to help them feel appreciated.
It's where they get free shaved ice for all healthcare workers and teachers in the educational field.
The Frozen Elephant in Miami implemented this new deal on Sunday, and it's already made an impact on area essential workers.
It kind of brightens the day, makes the day.
One Miami Schools employee who came to get her shaved ice says she was pleasantly surprised she didn't need to pay, and that it was because of her services to the community.
It's just, it's nice. The recognition's nice, and just being recognized for helping the students.
She adds that working in food services, she doesn't always get as much acknowledgement.
It's nice. It doesn't happen a whole lot, especially like in the kitchen, the cooks, but it's nice to be included in with the teacher, with the staff.
Staff at the Frozen Elephant just want essential workers to know that their hard work does not go unnoticed.
A little goes a long way, if it can be something that just slightly brightens their day, like, oh, nice, it's hot out, they get a little bit of a relaxing treat.
The business says they just want school and medical staff to know that they are appreciated in the community.
It's just a small way that we can show our appreciation to the medical field and the teachers. It's just something small that lets them know that we appreciate them and all that they do.
In Miami, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
That's awesome. The Frozen Elephant says they plan to keep this deal for essential workers going until they close at the end of August. That's awesome. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An unusual Olympics.
The Olympics in Tokyo are over. I'm Bradley Blackburn with images from the closing ceremony and the final medal count for Team USA.
Plus, the U.S. Embassy in Kabul has repeated its warning for all Americans to leave Afghanistan immediately. We'll have the latest as the violence continues as U.S. troops pull out. But first, it's 5:37.
Slowly but surely, what's left of the thunderstorm up in the far north of southwest Missouri, pushing off to the east. Still going to be there for about another 10 to 15 minutes, however. Nothing behind it. So now we turn our attention to the heat for this afternoon. Heat index ranging from 105 to 107, and combo at this time with a south wind. We'll get some 20-mile-an-hour gusts out of that. Overnight, mostly clear skies and temperatures not backing off anytime soon. Overnight lows are only going to be in the 70s for the rest of this week, with our daily highs up into the mid-90s. We'll be right back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, the U.S. and British embassies in Afghanistan are advising their citizens to leave the country immediately. This as violence escalates and the Taliban seizes a second city. Here's CBS's Imitaz Tiab.
For the Taliban, this is what victory looks like as it takes control of the city of Zarang in the southwestern Nimroz province. It's the first provincial capital to be captured by the group since it signed a deal with the Trump administration last year. The Western-backed Afghan government is now suffering body blow after body blow as the Taliban tightens its grip across the country. On Friday, Taliban fighters assassinated a top advisor to President Ashraf Ghani. Speaking at the funeral, Ghani called the Taliban the enemies of Afghanistan and said they fill coffins with our young people and treat them like savages. More than half the country's districts are now in Taliban hands. While most are in remote regions, some are extremely strategic, giving the Taliban control of lucrative border crossings with Iran, Tajikistan, and Pakistan, including Spin Boldak in the southeast. The Taliban closed that crossing as part of a demand for concessions from the Pakistani government. This stranded man from Kandahar says, "We have no food and no money. We cannot even go to a hotel to sleep for the night. I appeal to the Taliban to find some solution for us." An appeal to an armed group which is increasingly in charge. The U.S. Embassy in Kabul has repeated its warning for all Americans to leave Afghanistan, quote, immediately because of the rapidly deteriorating security situation there. But leaving isn't an option for most Afghans as their country continues to convulse with violence as U.S. troops pull out. Imtiaz Taib, CBS News, London.
Taliban fighters Sunday took control of much of the capital of northern Afghanistan's Kunduz province, including the governor's office and police headquarters. A provincial council member announced this on Sunday. Israel conducts a retaliatory strike against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The airstrike came in response to Hamas militants sending incendiary balloons into Israel. Israeli warplanes attacked multiple targets during the operation. Hamas attacks come as Israel continues a blockade of Gaza's coast and airspace, restricting people and goods from coming in or out of the territory. Israel says the blockade is designed to keep Hamas militants from getting weapons. Others say the closures are being used as punishment. Police in Tokyo capture a suspect who stabbed multiple passengers on a commuter train Friday. Officials say 9 people were taken to local hospitals, while a 10th victim was able to walk away. After the stabbing, the suspect fled the scene, eventually turning himself into police, saying he was tired of running. The station has resumed normal operations as police continue to investigate. Police arrest a man caught on camera starting a fire in the countryside near the town of Montesarchio in southern Italy. Suspects described as a 50-year-old local farmer. Local officials say the cameras were strategically positioned along scientific analysis of the starting points of recent fires in the area. This arrest came as fires continue to rage across northern Sardinia. Several Canadair aerial firefighting planes are taking part in the efforts to extinguish the flames. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, August the 9th happens to be National Book Lovers Day. And all you have to do to celebrate, pick up a good book, start to read. People are advised to put away their smartphones for a day and go to the book instead. Though an e-book, that's got to count, right? National Book Lovers Day, the perfect time to share a novel or nonfiction favorite with a friend, or, you know what, go read to a little one and help build them a lifelong love of books. You're encouraged to post pictures of your favorite book or reading nook on social media using the hashtag National Book Lovers Day. Our question to you this morning, how many books have you read in the past 12 months? I'll tell you what, the 5+ crew came out of the gate strong right there. Now that sits at 27%. It's just one end of the spectrum or the other, as right now 41% say haven't picked up a book, but once again, that makes today the perfect day to do it. And remember, 2 ways to get to the Insta poll each and every morning. You can go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connect to us through the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. COVID cases and hospitalizations continue to surge across the country despite half of Americans being fully vaccinated. U.S. is now reporting an average 100,000 infections per day, up from 11,000 in late June. Pediatric cases are also soaring as more students head back to the classroom. Officials identify the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County on Thursday. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office says the body is that of Dale Miner of Miami. Miner's body was discovered by highway workers on Thursday. No information was released, and officials say the investigation is ongoing. Former Missouri Senator and candidate for the 4th U.S. Congressional District, Ed Emery, has passed away. Officials with the Ed Emery for Congress's campaign released a statement yesterday on Emery's death. Emery passed away around 9 p.m. Friday night at University Hospital in Columbia following a heart episode. He was speaking at an event hosted by the Randolph County Republican Women in Moberly the evening of August 3rd. The funeral will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the First Baptist Church in Lamar. Cards and condolences can be sent to 1189 East Highway C in Lamar. A same-sex couple in Oklahoma is trying to use the Paycheck Protection Program to sue a Christian school that kicked out their daughter. Summit Christian Academy near Tulsa says the 5-year-old girl cannot start kindergarten there because her mother is married to another woman. Normally, a private religious institution does not have to comply with anti-discrimination laws, but attorneys for Sarah Evans and Brittany Hudson argue the school has to accept those laws because it accepted federal funding. The Academy's superintendent says school policy prevents him from commenting on what happened. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Hello, heat. Welcome back into the weather trend and the 7-day forecast, as we'll be up into the mid-90s here later on today, feeling about like 106 by the time it's all said and done, and that is why we have heat advisories not only for today but lasting all the way to Thursday. And we also have excessive heat warnings ranging through northeast Oklahoma. So as you drop down to the southwestern portion of the 4 states, it actually does feel a little bit hotter than what it is up to the north. At this point in time, though, if we're talking about the difference between 106 and 110, maybe we want to just stay inside just a little bit. We do have some early morning thunderstorm activity moving its way out of the northern portion of our highlighted counties, sticking around for just about another 10 minutes. A 7-day forecast that has alert days all the way at least until Thursday. Not going to be surprised if they don't reemerge on Friday. And then over the weekend, yeah, they're 80s, but they're still high 80s. We'll be right back after this.
In Tokyo, the Olympic Games are over, and Team USA is bringing home more medals than any other country. CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports on the closing ceremony.
It ended with a bang. After a year of waiting and 16 days of games, the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo are over. At the closing ceremony, American javelin thrower Kara Winger carried the U.S. flag into another empty stadium. More than 200 nations participated in a smaller than normal ceremony. The Olympic cauldron was extinguished, and most athletes are already back home. Due to COVID rules, they had to leave Japan 48 hours after competition. It was an unusual Olympics that may be remembered most for a decision not to compete.
At the end of the day, we are humans before athletes.
Back in Texas, gymnast Simone Biles spoke with President Biden and the First Lady via Zoom. They called her choice to pull out of key events to focus on her mental health a victory.
You've set an example. I really mean it. Simone.
But there were plenty of medals too. The U.S. finished on top with 113 and more gold than any other country. The majority of that count was thanks to dominance by American women. Allison Felix won 11 medals, beating Carl Lewis's longtime record as the most decorated track and field athlete. Gymnast Suni Lee wore her all-around gold yesterday as she was celebrated in a hometown parade in Minnesota. And in women's basketball, Team USA took gold for the 7th games in a row.
Couldn't be more happy. This is always really difficult to win a gold medal.
Athletes will have just 3 years to get ready again. The Olympic baton now passes to Paris for the 2024 Summer Games. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Like he just said, if you're a big Olympic fan, the wait is so short. That Winter Olympics is about 6 months away. 2022 in, was it in Paris? Is that what they were saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Winter Olympics is.
No,
that's
summer.
the next summer one. Winter Olympics, though,
right,
is in Beijing.
Yeah.
In February.
And then 2028's LA.
Yeah.
Back in the States.
I'm glad that they're keeping it on the 4-year cycle, though. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
One little blip.
But long-term construction projects and contracts, I mean.
Yeah.
You're committed to that. Interestingly enough, won the most medals in Tokyo as we had since 1984 in LA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then here we are in 7 years. We'll be right back there. All right, Tanya, on the KOAM News Now or Facebook, well, just Facebook generally, you can go to @Michael Hayslip, KOAM. And this gives you a quick idea just of our morning forecast. It's the same one that's on the Skywatch weather app. That's downloadable for all your mobile devices. Don't forget, too, you can also find it on Instagram. If you prefer going to the gram each and every morning, it's going to be the same forecast that you're going to find on Facebook as well. Then you can flip on over to KOAM News Now Facebook page and take part in our morning Insta poll. This morning, we're talking about National Book Day, National Read a Book Day. Happens to be August the 9th. And our question to you is, how many books have you read in the past 12 months? We're going back and forth right here. So earlier, we had the 0% that was leading. Now we're at the other end of the spectrum. 5 or more books in the past 12 months. That's up to 45% right now. Everybody else kind of nestled right there in the middle. You can make your voice heard by going to koamnewsnow.com/vote or connect to us through our News Now Facebook page. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, officials with the Ed Emery campaign release an update following the congressional candidate's death Friday evening. And an update to the drowning in Montgomery County as officials identify the victim. Also, the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County is identified. Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Be sure to keep drinking that water, stay hydrated, take breaks, protect yourself from the sun because it's gonna be hot this week.
Check on your neighbors, check on making sure your pet's got a lot of water. Almost an eerie look outside of Television City, Tanya. Look at that cloud cover. I think it's going to be a really cool looking morning. We still got 30 minutes until we get to sunrise. It'll be 6:30. A little bit more clarity there from 7th and Rangeline in Joplin, where we're already sitting at 79 degrees. Like I said, this is pre-sunrise. We're at 79 degrees. 78 in Miami. Chanute and Welch fell back down below the 80-degree mark. We've got a comfortable 75 in Monette, and then 78s for Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada. North of Nevada, work up toward the old Butler Clinton area. Just could put the storm track on right there. That thing brought some heavy rain now. Barely hanging on to our counties and just about to move off to the east, and nothing behind it. Our biggest concentration is going to be on the heat advisories and the excessive heat warnings, lasting all the way through the middle of the week as the Midwest locked back in that heat wave, similar to what we had about 2 weeks ago, and a weather trend that's going to put us up into the mid-90s with that cloud cover gradually clearing off, actually. It kind of lingers there for the afternoon. And then as we get into the nighttime hours, the thunderstorm activity kind of takes the cloud cover and whatnot. Hopefully we can keep that east of the Ozarks. Looks like we are for the time being. 7-day forecast with mid-90s all the way through Thursday, and alert days indicating the heat advisories are not going to expire anytime soon.
All right. Well, definitely going to be a hot one, and we're preparing for it.
It's going to be very similar to the end of July.
I feel like we get like a little bit of like a couple days of reprieve, you know, like it's nice. It's okay, not so hot, and then boom.
Then we hit it. Yep. Then we hit it for extended periods of time.
Yep. All right, thanks, Michael. A former Missouri senator and candidate for the 4th U.S. Congressional District, Ed Emery, has passed away. Officials with the Ed Emery for Congress campaign released a statement yesterday on Emery's death. Emery passed away around 9 p.m. Friday night at University Hospital in Columbia following a heart episode. He was speaking at an event hosted by the Randolph County Republican women in Moberly the evening of August 3rd. The campaign announced in the statement, visitation will be held Tuesday, August 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Daniel Funeral Home in Lamar. The funeral will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the First Baptist Church in Lamar. Cards and condolences can be sent to 1189 East Highway C in Lamar. A Bolivar, Missouri man dies in a crash near Polk, Missouri. It happened Sunday around 3 in the morning on Highway D, 0.5 miles, that's half a mile, north of Polk. Missouri Highway Patrol says a vehicle driven by 19-year-old Zachary Grenier ran off the roadway and struck a tree. Grenier was pronounced at the scene. Officials with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office released more information following a drowning in the county, including the name of the victim. Just before 7 Friday evening, Thomas Crittenden of Independence was on a boat in Elk City Lake State Park when he jumped into the water and never resurfaced. Several agencies, including area residents with boats, assisted with the search. Around 5:30 Saturday evening, first responders located Crittenden's body. Across state lines, officials say a 6-year-old boy drowned in the Elk River. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, just before 2 p.m. on Friday, a 6-year-old from Kansas City waded out into the waters of Elk River near Knoll and was not able to return to shore. He was taken to Freeman Hospital and pronounced dead just before 4 Friday afternoon. Officials have identified the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County on Thursday. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office says the body is that of Dale Miner of Miami. Miner's body was discovered by highway workers. No information was released, and officials say the investigation is ongoing. A same-sex couple in Oklahoma is trying to use the Paycheck Protection Program to sue a Christian school that kicked out their daughter. Summit Christian Academy near Tulsa says the 5-year-old girl cannot start kindergarten there because their mother is married to another woman. Normally, a private religious institution does not have to comply with anti-discrimination laws. But attorneys for Sarah Evans and Brittany Hudson argue the school has to accept those laws because it accepted federal funding. The academy's superintendent says school policy prevents him from commenting on what happened. Folks got an opportunity to learn more about Prairie State Park in Barton County during a special presentation on Saturday. Officials with the state park gave a presentation on the park's history and the importance of preserving the national prairie in the state. The park is part of the 1% of natural prairie left in the state, and officials say at one time more than a third of the state was natural prairie.
Well, we have several rare and endangered species that live here. Some of them will only be found on remnant tallgrass prairies, so they're, this isn't something you can just plant in a garden and expect to do well. They need prairie.
Following the presentation, visitors were taken on a bison hike through the prairie. I'm pretty sure they hold those the first Saturday of every month up until October. Well, it was a spicy Saturday over at Joplin's Empire Market. That's because the market was celebrating the return of Pepperfest. There were all kinds of locally grown peppers for people to pick up, as well as other spicy options like salsa and margaritas at the market cantina. Pepperfest had to be canceled last year due to COVID-19, but the market is happy to have it back since peppers and this corner of the Show Me State have so much history together.
For us in Southwest Missouri, this time of year is best represented by the abundance of peppers of all kinds of colors, all kinds of heat, and so we decided to do Pepperfest.
This weekend also marks the end of National Farmers Market Week, which was also being celebrated at Empire Market. It's 6:07.
Temperatures today are going to be hot. No other way to put it. Mid-90s with heat advisories and even excessive heat warnings in effect. Should stay on the dry side, and even our morning cloud cover is going to break up by the time we get to the afternoon. And we just keep on running the mid-90s all the way to the end of the work week before the 80s finally come back. And still, 89 and 88 with some humidity, that's still going to feel pretty hot on Saturday and Sunday.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the job market continues to improve.
Unemployment is dropping faster than expected. I'm Michael George with what this means for the U.S. economy and how the Delta variant could impact hiring.
Plus, a new study shows postpartum depression also impacts fathers, how mental health in new dads needs more attention. And we found out about Facebook's new features to help keep kids safe on social media. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, the job market continues to improve. For a second straight month, employers added hundreds of thousands of workers. But the rising number of COVID cases is leading to some anxiety about what the future could hold. Michael George reports.
Americans have a growing appetite to eat out, and that has Reset Cafe by Day in California looking for help.
We're trying to hire more baristas, we're trying to hire cooks.
Many industries are hiring, leading to a boom in July, with the economy adding a better than expected 943,000 jobs. The unemployment rate dropped from 5.9 to 5.4%. President Biden says the economy is headed in the right direction.
The unemployment rate is the lowest since the pandemic hit. The bottom line is this: what we're doing is working.
250,000 of the added jobs in July were at bars and restaurants, but establishments still need more workers.
It's hard to find people who want to work right now.
Some employees are staying home because of health concerns or an inability to find affordable childcare. Many businesses also blame government assistance for worker shortages. Those extra $300 federal unemployment payments end next month in states that haven't cut them off already.
We're still about 5.7 million jobs short of where we had been pre-pandemic. Things are definitely moving in the right direction on a lot of fronts.
Bankrate.com chief financial analyst Greg McBride says the latest numbers are encouraging, but rising COVID cases are adding uncertainty.
Where there's uncertainty, businesses are going to be a little bit more reluctant to hire, to invest.
But for now, economists believe hiring will continue in the coming months. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
It appears more people are returning to the office. 13.2% of employees worked remotely in July, down from 14.4% in June. There's a new world's richest person. Louis Vuitton owner Bernard Arnault passed Jeff Bezos last week. Forbes says Arnault is worth $197 billion. $4 billion more than the Amazon founder. Tesla's Elon Musk is third now at $182 billion. Bezos dropped out of the top spot after shares of Amazon dropped 7%. A vintage copy of a Mario video game sells for a lot of gold coins. An anonymous buyer doled out $2 million for an unopened copy of Super Mario Brothers. Oh, I love that game. The sale shattered a previous record when someone sold a sealed copy of Super Mario 64 for more than $1.5 million. The company which sold it didn't actually hold an auction for it. Rally bought the game and turned it into a small company where people can buy shares in it. It then got an offer to buy it, so investors voted on whether to sell it. The game was initially purchased for $140,000. A popular noodle maker wants to rattle your gourd with a new taste sensation. I don't know how I feel about this. Nissan Foods, makers of the ready-to-go cup noodles, is bringing a pumpkin flavor to the microwavable instant food to keep up with the fall flavor trend. Nissan says its pumpkin spice is more like a sauce than a flavor in a soup. All you do is the normal add water to the ramen noodles and spice mix and microwave for 4 minutes. It hits store shelves in late October and only is available at Walmart. Honestly, that's it for Consumer Watch. Michael, I like pumpkin soup, so maybe pumpkin flavored ramens wouldn't be so bad.
I don't do ramen.
I'm a big ramen fan. Always have been.
I just put the kibosh on that at the Hayslip household. All right, live look over Television City. Luckily, not as creepy looking as it was earlier with that cloud cover. Still hanging on to just a little bit of hard rain up there in between Butler and Clinton. Just moving off to the east. There's a live look over 7th and Rangeline. We're getting closer and closer to sunrise, and what's been a very warm morning is going to be, let's go ahead and call it a scorcher of an afternoon, as temperatures are already ranging in the high 70s. We've had some low 80s out there, and we're going to end up in the mid 90s. Heat advisory in effect for the majority of the 4 states. Excessive heat warning for northeast Oklahoma. Coming up next, we talked to Facebook about new privacy changes that are on the way, and we're going to find out exactly what it means for you right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Of course, each and every morning we have our Something to Talk About on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. And for those of you that utilize the weather app, the Skywatch weather app, you'll also notice that whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter, but also on Instagram, that's where our posts appear. And there are going to be some changes coming for those of you that use Facebook and Instagram. And we're fortunate enough to be joined this morning by Vaishnavi J. Vaishnavi, I want to thank you so much for your time, being this early in the morning and whatnot. And I want to start by saying, because we get great engagement from our viewers on Facebook and Instagram, what are some of the changes that are being put into effect right now?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. We announced a number of changes last week to help teens on Instagram have a safer, more private experience. So here are the couple of things that we will be changing going forward. The first thing is that if you are a teen under 16 joining Instagram for the first time, we'll be defaulting you into a private account. And if you're an existing teen on Instagram, we'll be encouraging you to look at your privacy settings and consider whether you want to, switch to a private account.
Greatly appreciate that from a parental standpoint, by the way. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. As a parent, I wanted to say thank you for that.
No, thank you. I think that's like a really important thing for us to be doing, and we've been doing this on the basis of research and consulting with experts. So I'm really glad to hear that it's resonating with you as a parent as well. The next thing that we're also announcing is that we're going to be making it harder for potentially suspicious adults to be able to discover or follow teens on Instagram. So this builds on some work that we did earlier this year to prevent all unconnected adults from being able to message teens at all. This really goes one step further. So if we get an indication that you could potentially be suspicious, you won't be able to see minors in reels or in comments. And if you do find them, you won't be able to follow them.
So another question, especially from a parental standpoint, now that we've got the Facebook, Instagram synergy going on, why is the decision being made now to institute these changes?
Well, we're always looking at how we want to keep our platform safe for the community, and we've actually been doing a lot of work in this space over the last few years, but the research has been evolving. We've been talking to young people, understanding their needs, looking at behaviors on the platform itself. So this seemed like the right time to really institute some of these changes. We've been testing them for a while, but now's the time to really launch them.
Okay, you say you've been talking to young people. I'm sure at the same point in time you've been talking to parents. Can you kind of convey some of their concerns that they've displayed as far as Facebook and Instagram content, as far as what they may come across on the kids' account?
Yeah, and parents are really big active users of Facebook and Instagram as well. And what they're seeing is that increasingly their children are online a lot more than they were. Every generation is spending more and more time online than the previous generation did. And they're really wondering how to have these conversations with their kids about what they're doing online, who they're connecting with, how they're talking to them. We launched a parents guide a few months ago, a refreshed parents guide that includes a set of conversation starters parents can have with their kids. So these are conversation starters that we developed with experts to really have very non-judgmental, open-minded conversations about what your kid is getting out of their online experience, and then working together with them to make sure that they're getting the right experiences online in a safe, age-appropriate way. So that seems to be top of mind from the parents we talk to.
Vaishnavi Vijay, she is the Instagram head of security. Vaishnavi, I want to thank you so much for your time this morning, especially explaining this to all of our users, because like I said, our platforms here at the station do utilize Facebook and Instagram quite a bit. So thank you for kind of breaking that down and making sure that people stay safe.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, new research highlights postpartum depression impacts mothers and fathers. Michael George shows us why there's a need for more attention on the mental health of new dads.
Stephen Hassan loves being a dad to 10-month-old Max. Their family had a difficult journey, with Max being born very premature.
Max was in the NICU for 97 days.
It was months of stress and worry. Stephen says he realized he was suffering from depression.
I had to be strong for my wife and for Max. And so, the real emotional toll didn't really hit me until we got home. Having feelings of regret. Why did I have this child? I can't do this.
Northwestern University researchers screened parents during their newborn's NICU stay and up to a month after discharge. 33% of mothers and 17% of fathers had depression symptoms. While mothers improved once their babies were home, dads were still experiencing symptoms.
It's possible that dad's depressive symptoms persisted because we really don't talk about it much or even acknowledge the fact that they also might be experiencing some trauma and anxiety and depression in this big shift to suddenly having a premature baby.
Study author Dr. Craig Garfield says dads should be screened more for signs of depression, such as trouble sleeping or increased anger, and they shouldn't be afraid to talk to their partner or a professional.
There's a significant number of fathers out there who do need help. And when you help that father, you actually end up helping that baby and that mother as well.
Max is now happy and healthy. Stephen credits his family and his therapist for helping him.
Mental health as a whole should be, not a taboo topic because it's just like exercise or, eating well.
And a big step in addressing the stigma is talking about it. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The study also found that if doctors were to screen parents in the NICU, it would help predict which parents may have depression symptoms that would continue after going home. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And then on top of that, we also got a little more rain working into the northern portion of the 4 states. This is just about kicked out of our county. We got ourselves sitting at 79 degrees. It's a warm.
Coming up, officials with the Ed Emory campaign release an update following the congressional candidate's death Friday evening. And an update to the drowning in Montgomery County as officials identify the victim. Also, the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County is named.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Just get out that sunblock, drink lots of water, and protect yourself because it's hot.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because our record high for this August 9th is really not too hot. It's only 102. It dates back to 1980, and we're not going to break it, but we'll probably come within 7 to 8 degrees of getting close to it. As the Skywatch Storm Tracker presenting cloud cover, but the thunderstorm activity we had, we're pretty much, this will be the last check we have on it. It is now moved out of our counties. There's a live look over 7th and Range Line. The sunrise officially here. It's 6:30 on this August the 9th over Joplin, and it's a warm one, 79 degrees, and already heat index, look at that, feels like 82. To get a difference in temperature and heat index this early in the morning, that's an indicator of where we're headed. Whole bunch of 77 through 79s, and that leads to heat advisories for our counties in orange and excessive heat warnings for northeast Oklahoma in the purple. As a matter of fact, the entire heat wave now able to spread from the Gulf Coast up through portions of Iowa, so it's rather impressive in scope there. It's backed off of the northwestern portion of the United States where we got our heat wave from 2 weeks ago. Instead of it coming down, this time it's all the heat that's coming up, and that will lead to those heat advisories and warnings. I do want to point out, though, what we were talking about in northeast Oklahoma with the excessive heat warning. Well, that's the only excessive heat warning involved in everything that stretches really from central Texas all the way into central Iowa. Severe thunderstorm risk map keeps us just in the normal rain shower category, doesn't even put us in the marginal. We'll talk about what we've got out to the east of us here in just a second, but let's conquer our afternoon planner where it's going to feel about like 105 to 107 this afternoon with south gusts as much as 20 miles per hour. Overnight, after a little afternoon cloud cover, we'll clear back off and the wind backs off as well, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Future track, you remember we saw that off to the east of us on the severe thunderstorm risk map? Well, here we go, Tuesday morning. So our far eastern counties of southwest Missouri may play a little bit of portion in that, not the hard rain by any means. It looks like it wants to stay east of the Ozarks. And a 7-day forecast, it doesn't back off temperature-wise, mid-90s all the way to the end of the work week, and even high 80s with that humidity sticking around. Going to be a little bit muggy there on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, muggy, but yet the temperatures will drop. Still have that feels like, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, we're probably, that's when we can say feels like about 96, 97 compared to 105 to 107.
Taking away my light at the end of the tunnel outlook.
No, not at all. I mean, that's a 10-degree difference right there.
It's going to be a big difference.
Yeah,
so,
you'll notice
regardless.
It'll be noticeable.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, former Missouri Senator and candidate for the 4th U.S. Congressional District, Ed Emery, has passed away. Officials with the Ed Emery for Congress campaign released a statement yesterday on Emery's death. Emery passed away around 9 p.m. Friday night at University Hospital in Columbia following a heart episode. He was speaking at an event hosted by the Randolph County Republican Women in Moberly the evening of August 3rd. The campaign announced in the statement that visitation will be held Tuesday, that's tomorrow, August 10th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Daniel Funeral Home in Lamar. The funeral will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the First Baptist Church in Lamar. Cards and condolences can be sent to 1189 East Highway C in Lamar. Officials with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office released more information following a drowning in the county, including the name of the victim. Just before 7 Friday evening, Thomas Crittenden of Independence was on a boat in Elk City Lake State Park when he jumped into the water and never resurfaced. Several agencies, including area residents with boats, assisted with the search. Around 5:30 Saturday evening, first responders located Crittenden's body. Across state lines, officials say a 6-year-old boy drowned in the Elk River. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, just before 2 p.m. Friday, a 6-year-old from Kansas City waded out into the waters of Elk River near Knoll and was not able to return to shore. He was taken to Freeman Hospital and pronounced dead just before 4 Friday afternoon. Officials identified the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County on Thursday. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office says the body is that of Dale Miner of Miami. Miner's body was discovered by highway workers. No information was released, and officials say the investigation is ongoing. A same-sex couple in Oklahoma is trying to use the Paycheck Protection Program to sue a Christian school that kicked out their daughter. Summit Christian Academy near Tulsa says the 5-year-old girl cannot start kindergarten there because her mother is married to another woman. Normally, a private religious institution does not have to comply with anti-discrimination laws, but attorneys for Sarah Evans and Brittany Hudson argue the school has to accept those laws because it accepted federal funding. The academy's superintendent says school policy prevents him from commenting on what happened. The Fun Zone Depot in Pittsburgh is connecting area families with local resources before kids head back to school, and they're doing it in a way that's fun for the entire family. On Saturday, they held their back-to-school block party bash. The event included food trucks, a rock climbing wall, as well as booths from local nonprofits. One organizer says she hopes the event can become an annual occurrence.
My hope is that it just kind of brings the community more together, because I think it's important for everyone to be able to come together and different businesses to be able to work together. So I'm hoping that other businesses will see this and they'll want to, maybe join. I'm hoping this can be an annual thing.
Organizers say the event was designed not only for entertainment, but as a way for local families to connect with important community resources. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is accused of sexually harassing 11 women, and now one of them is sharing her story. I'm Bradley Blackburn with details from the exclusive interview.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking how many books have you read in the past 12 months? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Mid-90s this afternoon, heat advisories, excessive heat warnings, and we need to get used to it because that heat wave from 2 weeks ago that ended July, it is back here for the middle of August. We're going to roll mid-90s all the way into Friday. We'll be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning as the New York State Assembly plans to meet today to discuss its impeachment investigation into Governor Andrew Cuomo. A former executive assistant to the governor says he needs to be held accountable for allegedly sexually harassing her, as well as 10 other women. She spoke exclusively with CBS this morning and the Albany Times-Union for her first public comments since filing a criminal complaint against Cuomo. Elise Preston reports from New York.
He groped me. He touched me.
In an exclusive interview with CBS This Morning and the Times-Union, Brittany Commisso detailed the harassment she says she was subjected to at the hands of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in 2019 and 2020.
They started to be hugs with kisses on the cheek, and then there was at one point a hug, and then when he went to go kiss me on the cheek, he quickly turned his head and he kissed me on the lips.
Commisso, who was previously identified as Executive Assistant Number 1, is among 11 women an independent investigation found to have been sexually harassed by the governor. On Friday, she filed a criminal complaint against the governor with the Albany Sheriff's Office, which could lead to criminal charges.
The governor needs to be held accountable.
And just so I'm clear again, being held accountable to you means seeing the governor charged with a crime.
What he did to me was a crime. He broke the law.
Appearing on CNN over the weekend, the governor's attorney pushed back against Commisso's claims.
He did not grope her, and there was evidence that was provided by several individuals to the Attorney General about potential motives for her to have made that claim.
On Sunday, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson joined the chorus demanding Cuomo resign.
No woman should have to go to the workplace and have to choose between a paycheck and being assaulted.
Governor Cuomo denies all accusations of sexual harassment or unwanted advances and says he will not step down. The New York State Assembly is expected to finish an impeachment inquiry against him later this week. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
You can see more of Jericka Duncan's interview with Brittany Commisso later today on CBS This Morning. On late Sunday, Governor Cuomo's secretary, Melissa DeRosso, resigned. The now former top-ranked unelected official in New York state government told CBS News in a statement, quote, "The past 2 years have been emotionally and mentally trying." COVID cases and hospitalizations continue to surge across the country despite half of Americans being fully vaccinated. The U.S. is now reporting an average 100,000 infections per day, up from 11,000 in late June. Pediatric cases are also soaring as more students head back to the classroom. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. August the 9th happens to be National Book Lovers Day. And all you have to do to celebrate, pick up a good book, start to read. People are advised to put away their smartphones for the day. Pick up a good book instead, although you got to admit, an e-book's got to count in that, right? National Book Lovers Day, the perfect time to share a novel or nonfiction favorite with a friend, or perhaps even more important, read to a little. Build a lifelong love of books in them. You're encouraged to post pictures of your favorite book or reading nook on social media. Use the hashtag National Book Lovers Day. Our question to you is, how many books have you read in the past 12 months? So we've gone back and forth between both sides of the spectrum. Right now, our previous leader, 0, is down to 32%, and 5+ books in the span of 12 months. That's actually gained traction and is now up to 45%. We got a lot of readers in the old KOAM Morning News crew. Absolutely love that. You can make your voice heard either by going to our KOAM News Now Facebook page, or you can go directly to the poll. Address is koamnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back. Celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, J.W. Robinson, who served in the United States Navy from 1944 to 1947 in Japan during World War II. His hometown, Columbus, Kansas. We are proud to salute J.W. Robinson, our four-state hero.
Birthday list will begin with smiling Cody Newman, complete with the old birthday hat. Cody, a very happy birthday to you. She's in Riverton.
And Carter Borland turning 5 years old this year. We got a Batman fan here in Carthage.
Jace David Bond turning 7. Now I'm called, the nickname is JD number 5. So we got a lot of JDs here in the Bond family. Well, hey, listen to this, JD number 5. I want you to know that these birthday wishes come with lots of love from Grandma, Grandpa, and JD number 1. Old JD's in Humble.
That's cool, that's cool. And we've got Samantha Akey celebrating 8 years old this year. Hope you have a great birthday in Neosho.
Got a boogie birthday. There she is. Happy birthday to Kendall as she hits double digits. Have a great day, Kara.
All right. And we've got Zara Wood turning 10 years old, getting ready to go into the 5th grade in Pittsburgh. Happy birthday, Zara.
Claire High's now 11, and now look at that collection of boots she got right there. Happy birthday to Miss Claire. She's in Loma Linda.
All right. Nice little leather there. And Josie Barr turning 13 years old. Welcome to the teenage years.
Ace Barcelona.
I was hoping you'd make a comment there about that last picture. Can we go back to the last one?
Can we go back to Josie? Hold on, Ace.
So Josie's
I'll be
in
right
Parsons.
with you, my man.
There you go. You see what I'm seeing, Michael?
Mm-hmm. You go ahead and take it. You got it.
Whenever we get a beautiful picture of someone in the sunflower field or something like that, we like to say that they're in a field of their own.
It's a very pretty background too.
Beautiful
Ace
picture.
Barcelona. He's turning 14. That's a pretty cool picture right there, Ace. I like to know the background of that, my man. Have a great day, Mr. Ace.
Oh, that reminds me of my vacation. Man.
I've always liked his name.
This next one. I've got a note here. Let's see, we got Darren Combs. Look at that sharp dressed Darren there. Yeah. Turning 17 years old in Galena.
And there's Miss Melba Owen. Melba, I want you to have a marvelous 86th birthday. Melba is celebrating in Columbus.
Stanley and Maxine
Yo!
Ryan with the big catch there.
Wow.
62 years together.
That's good stuff right there.
Wouldn't that be cool if that was like a 62-pounder for one for every year? That's a big fish.
Maybe
That's a
that's
big
what
fish.
they did on their anniversary. Maybe they say, hey, let's do some fishing. They pulled that in.
I'd like to know how they caught that. Was that on a trout line or something like that?
That is impressive, Stanley.
That's a good one.
Maxine.
That's a good one. Hey, they're in, the Ryans are our neighbors in Crestline. So.
Impressive. Mel and Heather Hunt, they're celebrating their 17th anniversary. Congratulations to Mel and Heather as they celebrate in Redfield.
And our list goes on. Out in Jasper, Jason Earl turning 48 years old. Corey Pitts is 49. Corey's in Lamar. And Lori Cole celebrating birthday number 63 this year.
I'll get on Mike about that, about not having Lori's picture right there. Happy birthday, Lori. I know who to go to get to the bottom of that story. Kevin Sand celebrating number 59. Kevin is in Erie. Couple more anniversaries to wrap up here. Randy and Penny Votes, they are celebrating their 50th anniversary. Wow. Congratulations, Randy and Penny. They are in Girard. Now, the minds are like, we will not be outdone by an amazing 50th. We will go 52. Alan and Ginger Mine celebrating 52 years of marriage. And it just so happens that Randy and Penny, Alan and Ginger, both celebrating 50 plus years of marriage. They are all 4 of them are in Girard. So a happy anniversary and happy birthday to all on this August 9th. Maybe you had it on Sunday, August the 8th, and we're catching up to you, but we're certainly not going to forget you. This is where you submit your birthdays to. You can either do birthdays at KOAMTV.com, or you can always log on to our website. That is at KOAMNewsNow.com. And now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Final glance at the KOAM News Now Insta Poll on this National Book Reading Day, asking how many books have you read in the past 12 months. And right now, our 5+ threatening to run away with this thing, all the way up now to 50%. Oh, 1, 2, 3, and 4 hardly chimed in. Or I shouldn't say that. We had a ton of people chime in. Hardly received any votes. It was either all or nothing. And the alls are seemingly going to take this. And of course, we'll keep updating the polls as we transition over to Fox 14. Here's how you take part in the Insta poll every morning. You either connect to us through the KOAM News Now Facebook page, or you can go directly to the poll. Just go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Tanya?
All right, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. COVID cases and hospitalizations continue to surge across the country, despite half of Americans being fully vaccinated. The U.S. is now reporting an average 100,000 infections per day, up from 11,000 in late June. Pediatric cases are also soaring as more students head back to the classroom. Officials identify the body found along Highway 69A in Ottawa County last Thursday. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office says the body is that of Dale Miner of Miami. Miner's body was discovered by highway workers. No information was released, and officials say the investigation is ongoing. Former Missouri Senator and candidate for the 4th U.S. Congressional District, Ed Emery, has passed away. Officials with the Ed Emery for Congress campaign released a statement yesterday on Emery's death. Emery passed away around 9 p.m. Friday night at University Hospital in Columbia following a heart episode. He was speaking at an event hosted by the Randolph County Republican Women in Moberly the evening of August 3rd. The funeral will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday at the First Baptist Church in Lamar. Cards and condolences can be sent to 1189 East Highway C in Lamar. The same-sex couple in Oklahoma is trying to use the Paycheck Protection Program to sue a Christian school that kicked out their daughter. Summit Christian Academy near Tulsa says the 5-year-old girl cannot start kindergarten there because her mother is married to another woman. Normally, a private religious institution does not have to comply with anti-discrimination laws, but attorneys for Sarah Evans and Brittany Hudson argue the school has to accept those laws because it accepted federal funding. The Academy superintendent says school policy prevents him from commenting on what happened. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As we push into the middle of August, we're going to be reminiscent of what it was like for the end of July. Temperatures already into the high 70s, leading to heat advisories for our counties in orange, and then excessive heat warnings for the counties in northeast Oklahoma indicated in purple. Anything that we do see rain-wise going to be a quick hitter, as most of it's going to move from west to east today. And look at the heat advisories on that alert day at the bottom of those panels as those run through Friday, with mid-90s each and every day and overnight lows only into the 70s.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making a garden quinoa toss in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. We've got the CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
Going to take a look at the updated severe thunderstorm risk map. We'll be eliminated from that after our thunderstorms have moved out of the northern portion of southwest Missouri. Also, Tanya, got a little bit of rain beginning to bubble up in central Oklahoma. Really of no concern to us, as it will continue to move east toward the Arkansas state line. But we'll keep our eyes on it, see if it begins to drop any lightning in case you have a trip down to Tulsa today.
And you have a sit down with an IT expert from Facebook, correct?
Do indeed. They've got privacy changes on the horizon that are about to take effect, and we'll find out exactly why they're doing it and what it means for you, me, and you, the user. That wraps it up for this Monday. Hey, remember, a whole lot of water and sunscreen when you're outside, and do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.